Hey, how's it going everybody? Taka from Taco Tuesday here, and today I'm bringing you another base build. In general, this base is pretty cheap, costing you 15,500 stone with no high walls, and 24,000 stone with high walls. I'll talk a little more about this in a second, but anyways, for the rest of the resources, it's going to cost you 4,500 wood, 3,500 metal frags, 9 rope, and 2 sewing kits. Because of its cheap price, it's going to be intended for 1 to 2 players. Of course, you can use this base with 3 players, but it would be a little cramped. And finally, this base does include auto turret spots, but auto turrets are completely optional. All they do is prevent people from getting too close to your base. For this video, I don't really want to talk too much about the base, because I really want to get to the base tour to actually show you guys. So this part of the base right here is what I like to call Phase 1. Basically, what Phase 1 actually is it's pretty much the part of the base that you'll be living in for the first few days of wipe. And for expanding off of Phase 1, you have 2 options. Your first option is to pretty much just put up high walls. This is what I would typically do. This is what I did for the base tour, and this is also what I would prefer to do because it sets up what I like to call an inner courtyard and also adds an extra layer. So basically nobody can build into these high walls and you'll be able to put anything you want behind them. Your second option is to expand the base using foundations. This can be easy to accomplish because of how simple the foundation plan is. So if I were you, I would expand your foundations to something like this. I could actually see a small group using this base and using the initial Phase 1 as a starter. But that's relative to the group. Anyways guys, I don't need to talk anymore, so why not just show you guys the base. Here we are, onto the tour. We're going to be using an enclosed courtyard system that I've used in one of my last base builds. So right through the armor door, you can already tell there's a ton of shotgun trap. So if anybody tries to go deep, they're going to quite literally have a blast. I've said this a lot of times in the past, but I usually keep an armor door on the front door, that way I can actually use the hatch to see outside. Most of the time it's ineffective, but sometimes it works. One thing I want to point out about the inner courtyards is that the sheet metal floors right above me are going to prevent people from building in, so there's no entry for raiders unless they decide to blow through. In the inner courtyard, you can do anything you want. You can put things like oil refineries and hemp plants. I decided to put an oil refinery which can actually be placed after the walls are down, which is quite nice in my opinion. Once again, the sheet metal floors prevent people from getting into this inner courtyard. Now time to enter the base. The rest of the doors are going to be sheet metal. Of course you can swap them out for armored if you'd like, but of course it's a solo player base, so I'm not going to do that. Into the second airlock, because technically the courtyard is our first airlock, we have a few dump chests onto our sides. So basically whatever you get out from farming you can put in here. And the cool thing about these is they actually have code locks on them and they're sticking through the low wall. So if somebody manages to get in here, they'll of course be taunted by the box and they'll try hatcheting it down. Because of course they don't have the code. And it's quite obviously what's going to happen, all the things inside the box are going to get despawned. Now we can head through these double doors which links to the center triangle of our base. We got a sacrificial pookie right here as well as a campfire, so we can cook up some meat in here. And to the left is a single door that links into our starter base. This is the starter 1x1 that you of course will set up at the start of wipe. We're of course also going to keep our cupboard in there as well. We also have boxes in here, so if you want to split off your loot, you can utilize those boxes to do so. Cell gate right here, you can replace double doors if you'd like. Cell gates look nicer, so I'm going to use one. Speaking of splitting off loot, here's some resource storage. There are 2 spots for resource storage, one here and one upstairs. I recommend storing most of your resources upstairs and some of it down here. That way it's harder to raid this base. Now we can go ahead and head upstairs. It's pretty simple to go upstairs. All you gotta do is just jump crouch through a few split floors. And now we're on our loot room floor, which is going to be the floor that we're on the most. It looks kind of intimidating, but we're going to hassle through this bit by bit. So we're going to start off with this sector right here. So starting off, these 2 boxes right over here, you guys can use for whatever you want, whether that be gear, resources, or even explosives. To the left of that, we of course got ourselves a refrigerator and a water purifier. And right below that, we of course have a sleeping bag for a friend. You can of course fit more depending on how many people you have. This would make an excellent starter for a group. To the left behind the sheet metal door is going to be the bedroom. This bed is going to be dedicated to the man of the house, or pretty much just you if you're a solo player. We have several boxes in this bedroom, which we'll get to in a second, but of course we have our large bed, which will be used to spawn in. Right above the bed we have ourselves of course a sacrificial pookie and a small box, which we'll go over right now. So the boxes in this room are going to be dedicated to gear, that way you can quickly spawn in and gear up quickly as well. Another thing, we're going to be using sheet metal for the doorway and wall, that way if somebody blows into that room from the outside, they can't just pick in to get to our loot room. So now we're going to move on to our storage. Right over here we of course have our components, which is obviously going to be used for, well, our component storage. To the left of that we're going to have our resource 2 storage. I recommend putting most of your resources here, as well as putting an armored double door on top, which is going to be quite expensive for a solo player, but I definitely think you can do it. Little tight squeeze to get into our corner right here, we have once again our component chest and a sheet metal door that links into our furnaces. But first we have a locker right here which we can use to store more gear, and a small box to store whatever you want. So this furnace room is actually pretty awesome. It's a 2-in-1 storage furnace room, which makes it quite convenient. So on the top half of the doorway we have a large box to store some wood and some charcoal, and to the left of that we have our small box to store some unsmelted metal. And on the bottom half we have our furnaces, which you can walk on top and access them all, which is pretty cool in my opinion. Let's head back into the center, in which we have our ladder right here, which links up to the top part of our loot room. So right behind the ladder we have a research table and a repair bench, which in my opinion is quite vital for solo play. And behind these 2 armored doors right here is going to be 2 extra boxes. You can use armored doors or sheet metal doors, completely up to you. These 4 boxes are going to be used for whatever you want, so once again store whatever you want in there. And the cool thing about them too is they're actually still 2 walls to get to them, so 1 floor and 2 floors, so they're not any weaker than the other loot rooms. So we're going to start the base build off by setting up a 1x1. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick a location and plop down a foundation. Make sure the foundation is pretty low. From there, just plot out your foundations and make sure you have enough room to build. From there, remove the foundations and upgrade your 1x1 foundation to stone. Place 3 walls on the backside and a doorway on front. Once everything is upgraded to stone, get a sheet metal door or a wood door and a code lock or a normal lock, depending on what you have at the time. I usually spend most of my time salvaging things until I can get myself a sheet metal door and a code lock. Then from there, you're going to place a vertical cupboard on the top right, a furnace to the left of that, and try to fit a small box to the left of the furnace. So when it comes to furnaces at the start of my base build, I usually have around 2 to 3, because most of my bases require sheet metal foundations and I always want to have them upgraded to sheet metal as soon as possible, so keep this in mind when you're building your 1x1. Once done with the 1x1, you're going to place a triangle right outside the doorway. From there, you're going to get foundation stairs and place it off the triangle. Then on the top side of the foundation stairs, you're going to place a normal square foundation, and this is what you should have so far. Now go ahead and remove the foundation stairs and build back one with the elevated foundation. Then remove these 2 squares right here, just like that. Now in between each square foundation, you're going to place 2 triangle foundations to connect them. And at this point, we're almost done with our foundations. Then go ahead and remove the elevated squares and bring it down to the lower sheet metal foundation, so right here. Then upgrade the 2 foundations to sheet metal. And whatever you do, do not upgrade the triangle foundations just yet. Once the foundations are upgraded to sheet metal, plot out your doorway. You should have your 1x1 to the left and you should be directly across from it. From there, head over to your 1x1, don't go inside of course, and to the right of the 1x1, this foundation right over here that we haven't upgraded just yet, you're going to place a wall and upgrade it to stone. Then from there we can go ahead and upgrade every single foundation to sheet metal because we already got the walls that we need to place down. Now let's go ahead and put an airlock down so we don't lose our stuff to a door camper. You can either place 2 single door frames and 2 single doors, or you can use 2 double door frames and 2 double doors. I want to use 2 double door frames, 1 double door, and a cell gate. Now on the spot that you decided your entrance is going to go on, you're going to of course place a single door frame right there, upgrade it to stone, and then on this last square you're just going to place a normal wall. Now on every single one of the sides with these elevated triangle foundations, you're going to place 2 walls on top. Once done, you're going to face your doorway, and to the left and right in between these 2 triangles, you're going to place a single wall, upgraded to stone, and do it for the other side. These 2 triangles of course are going to be where our dump chests are going to go, so we're going to leave those alone for now. Now once you're done with all your walls, you should get something that looks like this. It's pretty complex right now, but it all makes sense in a second. To the left of the cell gate in this triangle right here, what you're going to do is you're going to place a double door frame and upgrade it to stone or sheet metal. I like stone, so we're going to upgrade it to stone. This is where our entrance is going to be to our second floor, so go ahead and place a square floor tile and upgrade it to sheet metal. Then place another square floor tile over here, and once again upgrade that one to sheet metal, and then the same thing to these two triangles right here. But not for this triangle right here. Do not place anything there because our furnaces are going to go here. Same thing with these two triangles right here and this triangle right here, because of course that's going to be our entrance to our second floor. Now on your second floor, for each of these square floor tiles right here, you're going to place a single wall right on top. So one wall right there, another wall right here, and your final wall over here. Now at this point, this is what you should have. What you're going to do is you're going to head over to these two triangles right over here, and you're going to hop on top of the walls, and you're going to place two more triangles off these walls. So you're going to make like a semicircle or whatever you want to call it. Once done, just do it for the other two sides. And then you should get something like this. Head down to ground level, and on every single lower square foundation, you're going to place a triangle right up on top. So right above the first floor, you're going to upgrade it to sheet metal, then just do it for the other side. So one right here, and you should be able to touch it, and then another one right over here. Now head on top to where these two triangles are, and you're going to isolate these outer two triangles from the rest. So just upgrade that to stone, and then build up these walls as well. Now you should have a relatively tall room to work with. So now we're going to place in some appliances. So right here we're going to place a single door frame, and we're going to upgrade it to stone. Then we're going to place 3 small furnaces in the lower compartment. They should all fit just right. Then you're going to hop on top of your wall right above your furnaces, place a triangle right there, wall right over here, and then another triangle right here. Upgrade the triangles to sheet metal and the wall to stone. Now in this next compartment, you're going to place a large box right here, and then you're going to get a small box which I have to spawn in, and you're going to place it right in front of that. That way we have this little chest room right here, and you're going to place another 2 triangles and upgrade them to sheet metal. And of course a sheet metal door right here, and these 3 furnaces you can actually use. So if you need any more metal frags, you can go ahead and use the furnaces, or if you just need more storage for the base build, go ahead and use this room. This room should be helpful for you. Then in these lower 2 triangles, you're going to place a normal bed, so we're going to place that down. Then you're going to place a triangle to the left, upgrade it to sheet metal, and then you're going to place a door frame to the right and a wall to the left. So we're going to make sure it faces you, hard side facing you, door frame right there, sheet metal, that way if somebody blows through, they can't actually pick in. Then to enclose the bedroom, we're just going to place 2 more sheet metal floors. This pretty much is just a sheet metal room, to be honest. Then you're going to place a sheet metal floor right there, so we can make a little shelf, and then you're going to get a few boxes and just apply a few boxes in here. It doesn't really matter how it's set up, just do what you like. Now, right behind your second floor entrance, you're going to place a single wall right there to isolate this one by one. Then you're going to place 2 sheet metal triangles right above your entrance, and then you're going to place a square floor tile right in between the 2 walls. From there, on the bottom side of the shelf, you're going to place 2 large boxes and a small box right in between. Squeeze and tuck. Then you're going to place the same thing on top. Then you're going to cover this up by placing a door frame, upgrade it to sheet metal or stone, doesn't really matter, and then you're going to place a sheet metal double door for now, which I do recommend that you switch out for an armored double door. Then right on top of the top boxes, you're going to place a sheet metal floor, upgrade it to sheet metal, and that's pretty much it for this loot room. Then over here, it's pretty simple. All you got to do is just place 2 boxes. Then on the square floor tile next to your furnaces, you're going to place a locker in the corner right here and a small box right here. Doesn't matter how you place a small box, vertical, horizontal, doesn't really matter. Select the L-shaped stairs and rotate until the platform is on the right. From there, select a large box and place it right underneath and right on top. Then go ahead and upgrade the stairs to wood. That's usually how I like my stairs because, you know, a little more variety in this room. Then head on to what technically should be your third floor, but we're not going to really put anything up here. And then you're going to place sheet metal floors on every single spot except for the center. Then go ahead and upgrade everything to sheet metal, and then you're pretty much done with this step. Now above every single square floor tile, you're going to place a single wall right up top. Then you're going to isolate off these two triangles by placing 2 walls on each side. So upgrade those to stone and do it for the other squares. So you get like this little isolated pod right here in which you can place your research table and your repair bench. Now like I said, once again just do it for the other 2 sides. Except for this time we're going to be using chests instead of research tables and repair benches. Once you're done doing it to the other 2 sides, you're going to place 2 triangles down here. Upgrade them to sheet metal, and yeah, once again, just do it for the other 2 sides. Then right above each research table and each pair of chests, you're going to place a square floor tile and of course a triangle in the middle. That way we can get this 2 layers down so nobody can just blow through. Now for every single one of these triangle overhangs, what you're going to do is you're going to bring it up 1 wall in each one of them. So just do that for every single one of them and I'll be right back. I really recommend that you slow down the video with the gear icon on the bottom right if you need any extra help. It is kind of a confusing step if you aren't really paying attention. Now this next step is kind of more for aesthetics, so if you don't want to do this, you don't have to. Pretty much, you're going to put auto turrets on these 3 triangles right here, and you're going to put spikes on the top. So I'm just going to speed through this because I don't need to commentate over this. And your absolute final step is completely optional once again. All it does is add an extra layer to the bottom floor. But if you want to do it, slow down the video with the gear icon on the bottom right. I don't really feel I need to commentate over this. I'm already tired enough already. So anyways guys, thank you all so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And anyways guys, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. I might be streaming tomorrow, by the way.